There are calls for sweeping changes to Tasmania's taxation system to make it simpler and more efficient. The panel reviewing state taxes has been told GST should be raised and other taxes abolished.
It's the first major review of Tasmania's tax system in almost 20 years. The business community believes urgent reform is long overdue.
The Property Council has argued that the property sector is unfairly burdened with inefficient state property taxes. What that does is act as a barrier to further investment.
The panel reviewing the state's taxation system sat in Hobart and heard submissions from peak business bodies and interest groups.
I think that we ought to review the GST, possibly increase it and seriously do away with state taxes.
Currently, the discussion from the panel is only looking at land tax and stamp duty. As far as the Property Council is concerned, that doesn't go far enough.
No decisions have been made. It's a process.
As the clean-up from last week's floods continues in the state's north, the government has activated its disaster relief policy to help councils.
So what that means is that we will be able to provide support to local government to rebuild the roads and bridges.
The repair bill is expected to be significant.
We have funds like our own insurance funds, for instance, that are set aside for these sorts of purposes.
But there'll be nothing for flood-ravaged farmers.
We're not at a stage yet where we're ready to enact or have reached any threshold to enact help for farmers from these March floods.
The opposition is trying to pin down the movements of Lynn Thorpe. It's concerned the embattled government minister may try to dodge the last 2 sitting weeks of state parliament in the lead up to upper house elections in May.
She needs to face scrutiny over the Paul Mason remarks. They were in poor taste.
Unless she's ill, like anybody else may well be ill, she will be there.
The Corrections Minister has received the final report and recommendations from Mick Palmer's inquiry into Risdon Prison. In a statement, Nick McKim says he'll publicly release as much of the report as possible once it's gone before Cabinet. Brad Markham, ABC News.